what you think, what you telling your friends when you're talking about me. It's cool, you can say what you want to. I don't give a fuck what you think.
The Black-Eyed Children, the Silent Visitors. It was a quiet night in a small American town when Brian Bethel, a reporter, was waiting in his car outside a movie theater. That's when he saw them, two children, around 10 or 12 years old, standing on the street corner. They were staring at him with eyes that were completely black, their pupils swallowed by the abyss of their gaze. The children approached his car, and one of them knocked on the window. "Let us in," they said, in a voice that sounded too calm for their age. Brian felt a chill run down his spine, a sense of unease settling deep in his gut. They were unnaturally calm, their movements almost too deliberate. Brian tried to brush them off, but something in the air felt off. He rolled the window down just enough to hear them clearly, and the second they spoke again, he realized the horror that was unfolding before him. Their voices sounded like something not entirely human. He slammed the car into gear and sped away, not daring to look back. Over the years, more and more reports surfaced of people encountering these black-eyed children. The witnesses described the same eerie, cold aura, and a feeling of complete dread. No one has ever fully explained who they are, but one thing is certain: once they find you, you'll never feel safe again. The disappearance of the Sodder children, a Christmas Eve tragedy. On Christmas Eve in 1945, the Sodder family of West Virginia was asleep in their cozy home. Unaware that their lives would soon be shattered, a fire broke out in the middle of the night, engulfing the house in flames. The father, George Sodder, managed to escape with his wife and 4 children. But 5 of their kids, aged 5 to 14, were nowhere to be found. The firefighters and investigators believed they had perished in the flames, but there was one problem: no remains were ever found. The fire had consumed everything, but it didn't make sense. The family's investigation showed that the fire wasn't as bad as it appeared. In fact, there were signs that the children had actually escaped the house, and the only thing left was a mystery. Over the years, the family received numerous anonymous letters and reports of the children being seen alive in different parts of the country. The clues were never clear enough to confirm their survival, but the chilling possibility remained. What if the children had been taken, never to return? The Sodder family was left to wonder if their children had died that night, or if someone had taken them. To this day, the mystery remains unsolved. The Red Children of Lake Kazaki, the Cursed Waters. On the outskirts of Nagano, Japan, there is a secluded lake called Lake Kazaki. The locals speak in hushed tones about the aka Go, or Red Children, said to haunt the waters. These children are not like the gentle spirits found in most legends. They are pale, with blood-red skin, and their eerie, silent faces often appear just beneath the surface of the water, glowing faintly in the dark. The legend says that the Red Children were once victims of a brutal tragedy, perhaps drowned by their own families, or taken by the spirits of the lake itself. One night, a fisherman set out on the lake, and his boat was found adrift with no sign of him. But the villagers swore they saw red eyes glowing in the water, watching, waiting. Years later, another man ventured near the lake at night. As he walked along the shore, he saw something moving beneath the water. Terrified, he turned to run but tripped and fell into the cold depths. He was never seen again. Those who dare approach the lake after sunset say they hear faint children's laughter echoing across the water, and soft splashing sounds as something, or someone, calls them into the dark. The silent children of the abandoned mansion. Deep in the countryside of England, there stood an abandoned mansion that had been deserted for decades. Locals whispered of strange occurrences that happened near the mansion, eerie sounds that floated through the air at night, footsteps that seemed to follow you when you were alone, and a cold, unnatural chill that hung around the place. But the most chilling stories were the ones about the children. The mansion had once belonged to a wealthy family, but after a fire that took the lives of the parents, the children mysteriously disappeared. Despite a thorough investigation, no trace of the children was ever found. Yet, over the years, people passing by the house began to claim they had seen children staring out from the windows at night, their faces pale, eyes wide and empty, as if they were trapped in time. One fateful evening, a group of teens decided to explore the mansion. As they entered, they immediately felt a strange unease. The air grew thick, heavy with the scent of burnt wood. In the attic, they found old toys scattered across the floor, as though left in a hurry. Suddenly, a loud thud echoed through the house, followed by a soft whispering. One by one, they turned to look, but there was no one there. The whispering grew louder, and a cold wind swept through the room. They fled the house in a panic, but when they looked back, they swore they saw the faint outline of children watching them from the upstairs windows. To this day, no one has dared to return. Some believe the children's spirits are still trapped in the mansion, replaying their final moments over and over again, forever lost in the flames of the past. The vanishing children of the old lighthouse. At the edge of a remote cliffside in the Scotland Highlands, the old lighthouse stood, overlooking the wild, crashing waves of the Atlantic Ocean. It had been abandoned for years, its once mighty light now dim and covered in ivy. But it was the lighthouse keeper's children who became the focus of the town's darkest legend. In the early 1900s, the keeper's children would often play near the cliffs, gazing out at the sea and talking about strange figures they had seen in the waves. The townspeople dismissed their stories, thinking they were just the innocent imaginings of children. But one fateful night, something changed. The children, normally full of life and laughter, vanished without a trace. The lighthouse keeper, devastated, searched for them endlessly, but the search turned up nothing, not a footprint, not a shred of clothing. A thick fog had rolled in that night, blanketing the coast in darkness. People said that the children had wandered too close to the edge and fallen into the sea, but no bodies were ever recovered. Years later, the lighthouse was still in disrepair, but locals claimed that on certain nights, if you stood near the cliffs and listened closely, you could hear the soft sounds of children's laughter, drifting over the wind, followed by a strange whispering voice carried by the waves. Some say the children's spirits are still playing by the sea, waiting to be found, but no one dares venture too close. The lighthouse remains a haunting symbol of what happened that night, and the vanished children remain forever lost in the mist.